Here on the live stream. We're on Facebook, WIBW.com, YouTube, probably a lot of other places. And I'm showing you right now, this is the live look from Wamego. Wamego officially has a report of 12 inches of snow, that coming in about an hour ago. So it's been snowing since then. So a foot of snow is what Wamego has officially so far, but that number is probably going to be higher than what you already have. This image is from Wamego Telecom. They have several cameras there outside their office that kind of swing around, but you can see how deep the snow is there in Wamego. I think I'm short. I think the camera's adjusted for Daniel, who's just a little taller than me. So anyway, I want to go back and talk about Wamego. This is a historic storm in a lot of ways. I wasn't sure it was going to be this extreme, but look at this. This is the data for how much snow was reported in Wamego, and I just looked at the higher end events. We'll get to the forecast for everybody in a moment here, but look how bad this is. So Wamego, these are 2-day snowfall totals because there are a lot of snow events that come in the evening, and the 2-day snowfall total doesn't always show up in the climate summary. So I added all the 2-day totals up, and we're looking at the extremes of 2-day totals. So I then collated this by date to see when's the last time we had something this extreme. So if you go back to 2019, there was an 8.5 inch snow in Wamego. I'm taller now, thank you. 9.1 in 2019, that was a previous day, so that was a big event, of course. We had 11.5 inches just over 10 years ago, but you have to go a long way back to find something that's a foot or more. 12.5 inches back in 1985 in January, and then to go back and find something that's higher than a 2-day total of 12.5, because it's still snowing in Wamego, so we're probably over 12, certainly could even be 12.5 or 13 by now. You have to go all the way down to 1912. That's the last time the town of Wamego had a snowfall that appears to have gone over a foot. All right, so how about Topeka? How historic is this storm for us? In the capital city, I'm looking back at snowfall amounts again, 2-day totals. So back in 93, we had an 18.2. I don't think Topeka's getting 18 inches of snow today. That's very unlikely. We're at 6.2 was the last check. But, you know, once you get anything above a 10-inch snow, you're talking about, you know, something that's in the top 10 since records began here. This set of data goes back to the 1950s. But if you get anything over 10 inches of snow in Topeka, you're talking about, you know, some really rare company here. But certainly we could get 9 or 10 inches of snow in Topeka. It's been a long time since we had that. There's an 18 back in 1993. Let's collate this and see the most recent dates there on when's the last time we had one of these really kind of big ones. So 23, we had 7.2 inches of snow in 2023 with one event in November. And then you have to go down to 2018, there's a 6, there's a 13-inch snow a decade ago, back in 2014. So to see a snow of more than 7.2 inches in Topeka, you have to go back more than a decade. So for Wamego, this is probably something that's not happened in 100 years. In Topeka, this is something that hasn't happened in about a decade. So additional snow on top we already have. Wamego already has a foot of snow. Chapman has about a foot of snow. Topeka has about 6.2. So when you add on top of that, Manhattan, you know, Wamego, same area, you're looking at Wamego with probably about 16. Holton's going to get another 6 inches of snow on top of what's happened. Topeka another 4. That'll put us at 10 inches of snow, a top 10 event for the capital city probably, 7.5 in Hiawatha. So this is a significant storm. It's a historic storm for our area. We had not seen a blizzard warning in northeast Kansas at all since 2019, and we hadn't seen a blizzard warning specifically for Topeka since November of 2018. So those two blizzard warnings happened to happen in the same fall, winter, the same snow season. So that's rare to have two of them in the same snow season. But we're in January now. Hopefully we don't have another one of these. But looking out now in downtown Emporia, a lot of our cameras look like this. And after the storm is over with, we'll have to find out what's broken and what's not. But that's the look from through the ice glaze in Emporia, downtown Emporia. This is at the Lyon County History Center. Beautiful downtown Emporia. Right now it looks like something in the Witness Protection Program. You you can't quite tell what town it is through that wild look. This is a really weird look. Cloud County Community College camera. This looks like it's through the fisheye camera. If you've ever played with the GoPro, I know I had that setting. Other cameras do as well. Security cameras do as well. But it just looks like a fisheye setting. What we can see from this is a blowing snow along the roof there at Cloud County Community College. So blowing snow, drifting snow, the temperature 13, it's still snowing. We've got the wind chill feels like -7, and the visibility is 1/3 of a mile. The winds are sustained at 24 miles per hour. And again, we have the blizzard warning in place. Normally, blizzard warning means that the winds have to be sustained over 35 miles per hour for 3 straight hours. I'm not sure we made it to that. So as far as verifying the criteria on blizzard warning, I'm not sure today's going to cut it for verifying for an official blizzard. If you look outside, it's bad, it's dangerous, and the snow is still coming down. Again, it's probably going to be a top 10 snow for Topeka, and it's probably going to be a top 10 since 1950. In the last 74 years, it'll be a top 10 snow. So that's obviously a big deal for Wamego. Unless I find other data, it looks like it's the biggest snow in a century. That's what's happening today, and still coming down. Downtown Topeka from the Cyrus Hotel, you can see one of the snow plows has carved out the southbound lane of Kansas Avenue. It's 16 degrees. The temperature in Topeka now, the feels like temperature, 1 below zero, 1/3 of a mile of visibility in the capital city as well. Now, when you see snow falling and the temperature is around 32, sometimes snow's falling above 32. It is not as hard to clear the roads when the snow is close to 30, 32 degrees. But when you have temperatures like this, 12 in Concordia, 16 in Topeka, it is much harder for the road crews to scrape those roads and get them well cleared. Look at this. We just had a snowplow go through there just a few minutes ago, and you can see he's not getting everything. He's doing the best he can. You know, you're looking at 5, 6 inches of snow deep there, maybe 7 at this time downtown Topeka. But you know, they carve this out the best they can. But when the temperature is this cold, it's hard to get all the ice and the hard snow off the bottom. Also, with the wind blowing the snow around, wherever they clean it off, the snow blows right back over some of the same roads time after time. So this storm is not one where the road crews can go out and just, you know, boom, it's quickly done and swept off and you're good to go. This is going to take a long time to clean this. I mean, I'm sure they'll be up working on this all the way through tomorrow morning, almost no doubt. So north winds at 21 miles per hour in Topeka. The snow's still coming down heavily, and we still have several hours of this to go. Topeka likely to see another 4 or 5 inches of snow on top of what's already happened. Holton, again, another 5, 6. It could even be 7 or 8 for Holton and Hiawatha on top of what's already happened. And when the temperature is this cold, the snow adds up more quickly. It tends to create bigger flakes, and those bigger flakes pile up faster. It doesn't mean there's more moisture. I mean, the shape of those flakes, if you have temperature at different levels, you can have a very small amount of moisture create a very deep snow because the flakes are actually bigger. The crystals spread out more. Now, over time, they'll actually kind of crush the way that they'll crush themselves down, which is pretty wild to see. But with the temperature this cold and the snow coming in this heavy, we're probably going to add several inches on top of what's already fallen, and the radar showing it's still coming this way. So through this afternoon, heavy snow, blowing snow, it's a blizzard. It's at least near blizzard condition. Now, again, as I mentioned, I don't know if this is going to qualify when they go back to do verification for whether or not this is going to have qualified as a true blizzard. I think 35 mile per hour sustained winds for 3 hours or more is one of the criteria that has to be met. So I'll find out about that. But either way, it's dangerous. It's near blizzard conditions or full blizzard. It's a mess. This evening, snow ends before midnight. 3 to 8 inches more additional snow is going to be common on top of what's already happened. Monday morning, that's tomorrow morning, extreme cold. Now, there are a lot of schools that aren't scheduled to go back tomorrow. So I've mentioned this a couple times the last couple of days. I expect to see a bunch of school closings on Monday. I mentioned 501 goes back Monday, but I don't expect it at this point. My kids are in a different school in Topeka. I don't expect to see them in class tomorrow. Maybe. I mean, if they have school, I'll take them. But you know, there are a lot of schools, more than I thought, that don't have school starting on Monday. So if you don't see your school closed, don't just assume that that they're open. You may just not be open because you go back to school later, Tuesday or even later. So there were a lot of people on Facebook yesterday letting me know there were about 10 different school districts. They were telling me we start Tuesday, we start Tuesday, we start Tuesday. So if you don't see your school closed tomorrow, go back and just make sure that you don't just continue Christmas break. If you're still on Christmas break and you're not going to have a closing, you're just not going to have school because you already didn't have school scheduled. So blizzard warning continues. The winds are gusting 45 miles per hour at times. 6 to 14 inches of snow total is going to be common from this by the time it all wraps up. The snow will stop falling later on this evening. Still a winter storm warning that goes into Coffee County, over into Franklin, Miami, Lynn, Anderson. And it almost feels rude to say, because Coffee County is in the WIBW viewing area. Coffee County is the only county in the WIBW technical designated market area, DMA, or those things. Those are the terms we use when we're dealing with advertisers and talk about who officially watches us. People can see us in other counties as well, but it just seems almost rude to say Coffee County, you're the only county in the WIBW DMA not in the blizzard warning. It almost seems silly, but you are the only county that's truly in our designated coverage area that's in a winter storm warning. That doesn't mean you got a bargain out of this. It's still dangerous. You still got a lot of ice. You're still going to see snow, blowing snow, heavy snow, but they draw the line someplace, and in this case they chose to draw, they did extend it farther south last night down to Douglas County and Osage County, and they extended the blizzard over more into Missouri. But, for the WIBW designated market area, the only county not in the blizzard warning is Coffee County. Does it make any difference, really? No. The storms don't look at these warnings like a fence. Truly. Same thing with tornado warnings or flood warnings or any other warnings. If you are close to a warning, you should consider yourself to be in danger. Watches are the same way. And the tornado watches, severe storm watches, blizzard watches, all these things, they go up to a county. And a lot of times the wording of those watches will say the risk is in and near the watch area. So if you're one county out of a blizzard warning, you can consider yourself to be in the same mess as the rest of us. So Capital Federal Live Storm Tracker. When we were looking at this last night, this was not an impressive batch of precipitation. We just had mist and drizzle coming in. It's just that it was coming down with temperatures at cloud level anywhere from 33 to about 40 degrees at about 2,000 feet up in the atmosphere. So the rain, it was coming down as rainwater. Very fine rain droplets, mist, drizzle. It wasn't even wasn't heavy really at any point before about 10 or 11 p.m. But we were watching the storm developing in southwest Kansas, the greater energy, and now you can really see this thing. So some folks were asking me, well, when does it mature? I kept saying it's going to mature. This is a mature cyclone at this point, mid-latitude cyclone, and it's a powerful snowstorm, and it is all snow. Early this morning, we still had some sleet falling around Emporia and Burlington. That was until about 8 a.m. As of 8 a.m., it all changed over to sleet and snow. The freezing rain had stopped at that point, and we had a mix of some sleet and snow. By 10 a.m., it was all snow everywhere. And as we get back into this close look at the radar, you're going to see this thing starting to pinwheel somewhat. So in Topeka, notice the snow is moving from south to north. In Clay Center, Concordia, Marysville, the snow is moving from northeast to southwest. So that's not the end of this thing necessarily. We're going to see that line right through here. You tend to see higher snowfall totals, higher snowfall rates tend to happen right where that shift goes on, right where you shift kind of from the south and southeast to coming from the northwest. It acts sort of like a front, but you really squeeze out a lot of snow in a band like that. So areas like Holton, Wamego, that already has a foot of snow on the ground, Manhattan, Westmoreland, up to Onega, Seneca, Hiawatha, you're going to be in a really heavy band of snow the next couple of hours. All the stuff from Osage City to Emporia, Ottawa, this is heavy as well, but you really get a little band that's particularly nasty where the wind kind of shifts direction at cloud level, and you can see it there on the radar. The surface winds are all coming in from the north. You know, we got the precipitation. It's interesting to look at. If you look at it this way, precipitation coming in from the southwest in Topeka, the wind is coming straight from the north at 36 miles per hour. You know, it's just doing two totally different things. But this is on the back side, the northwest side of this low pressure area, so that is not unusual. In storm season, when we're talking about severe weather and tornadoes, you need a south and southeast wind for things to really be problematic. In a storm like this with a blizzard, generally you're going to have the north winds or northeast winds, and even northwest. Not as common northwest, but more northwest for some of the wildest snow. So on the computer model, again, we stay in heavy snow all afternoon long. This is going to cause all kinds of problems. If you don't have to be on the road, just stay home. We have the NFL football on WIBW TV right now. Of course, you can watch this with live streaming coverage. We'll have several of these breaks of the day. The Chiefs are playing on WIBW TV. I believe that game starts at 3:30. We don't have a 5:30 newscast, so we will have a live stream on the web and social media for that again, and I'll have more snowfall totals to show you then as well. So 7 to 14 inches of snow is going to be common, 3 to 7 in areas to the south and east. Now, I want to show you some of the snowfall totals. I kind of jumped past that, but let's look at some of the snowfall totals that have happened so far. So jumping ahead, there's that Wamego camera one more time, and I'm going to go to the snowfall map, and some of these numbers are pretty wild. Again, Wamego, with a foot of snow, that's the total officially so far, and it is still snowing, and it's snowing heavily as a matter of fact. So I'm updating the map to get the latest data here, and let's see what sort of numbers we get. All right, so Wamego is still at a foot, and you can see the list of those totals here on the upper right. So St. George 11.3, Chapman 11, Topeka, the east-northeast of Topeka, 3 miles. The location, so it's not, Topeka is not just one point, but when you see that data for a location around Topeka, east-northeast Topeka 3 miles means from the Capitol building, and in this case, that location is the National Weather Service office. And that data was from 10:30 a.m. It's been snowing. That's almost 2 hours ago. So, 2 hours ago, Topeka had a half a foot of snow, and it's been snowing ever since then as well. So we're not done, and most likely Topeka's at 7 or 8 inches of snow at this point. To the west, there's McFarland. That data was from 7 a.m., so that's almost surely going to be outdated. But we've got this bullseye here of some higher numbers around Manhattan and Wamego of about a foot. Now, we don't have a lot of data coming in yet around Holton, up to areas around Seneca. This one is from 7 o'clock in the morning from Woodlawn. That's a very small town. I don't think there's more than 12 people in Woodlawn. And I had a woman who's 90 years old call me. This has been 20 years ago, and it's the best conversation. And she told me she lived here her whole life and she'd never heard of Woodlawn. But it's there. It's just a very small town of very nice people. But Woodlawn, Kansas, yeah, that total came in at 7 a.m. Here's another bigger number here, McLouth. That's at 10:44 a.m. Now, McLouth is farther east in the snowstorm, so McLouth has a lot of hours of snow coming. So that's at 10:44 a.m., 7.8 inches of snow, but that number is going to get much bigger. Chapman, 11 inches of snow, and let's check out what Chapman looks like from Can Drive, from the KDOT website. So here's Can Drive, and you can check this out anytime your tax dollars are paying for it, so you can check this out any old time you want to. But that's how it looks. There's a snow plow. Oh, look at the snow that thing's kicking up. My goodness. And he's digging through at least a foot of snow there on I-70. That left lane, I'm not sure you could drive down that now. But that's a lot of snow that snow plow just cleared through there, right on cue. I appreciate him doing that, just as I happen to take that camera. Okay, not on cue, just blind luck. That's the view from Junction City at I-70 at US 77. That's the same tower looking to the northeast. It's covered in ice. A lot of the cameras are covered in ice today, obviously. There's a wreck. I did not see that before. I just happened upon that. But right there on the right side, somebody is in the ditch, it looks like. That's I-70. I'm pretty sure that first car's in the shoulder. I'm not actually sure. It's hard to tell where they are, but they are not stopped there because they want to be. And that's the exact same patch of road yesterday where we had I-70 was closed due to several auto accidents, and the traffic at just about 2 p.m. yesterday was at a dead stop. So that same area where they're stuck is where we had the traffic at a standstill yesterday. Exit 313, just south of Manhattan. Bill Snyder Highway there. Going north from I-70, there's Deep Creek Road, huge icicle hanging across the KDOT camera there. I-70 at Alma, that's a lot of snow. There's Auburn Road getting into Topeka now. There's I-70 East at Wanamaker. That's very close to WIBW TV. That just looks like a mess at Gage. Man, just heavy snow everywhere. So that's milepost 358, I-70 at Topeka, Gage, looking northwest. There's I-70 west of Topeka Boulevard. And, it's just extremely heavy snow really everywhere. All right, let's go back over to the graphics. And this is how much snow the computer model is anticipating will fall on top of what has already happened. So Chapman, again, I just showed you that snowplow digging through. They had 11 inches of snow measured. That was a couple of hours ago, so almost surely they're at a foot of snow or close to it now. You'll add another 4 or 5 inches on top of that. Manhattan, Wamego, close to a foot of snow already. You're going to add another 4 or 5 inches on top of that. Holton, I really think you've got 6 or 7 inches of snow on the ground already. You're going to have another 6 or 7 inches on top of that. Topeka, this 4.1, again, our total so far official at Billard Airport was 6.2 inches of snow, but that's been just about 2 hours ago, and it's been snowing the whole time. So you add 4 or 5 inches on top of what has already happened. So Topeka is probably going to be in the 10 inch to a foot of snow category. This is going to be not the record snow, but it's going to be one that's notable historically, and certainly a top 10 snow in the last 75 years. Lawrence, Kansas City, I mentioned McLouth as well. McLouth has 7.8, and McLouth is right about there. So you're going to add another 7 or 8 inches of snow on top of that in McLouth. Valley Falls, areas like Winchester, up to Effingham, Atchison. These areas that are farther to the east, you have more hours of snow left. Concordia, back to Beloit, Belleville, you're closer to the end of this. It's going to be a couple of hours still. You can still add 2 or 3 inches of snow, but areas farther to the east have many more hours of this to go. So you're going to have more just because of the proximity to the track of the low. Downtown Emporia, again, that's from the Lyon County History Center, and it just looks like a kaleidoscope kind of thing with the ice glaze that hit everything before we got the snow coming down. Concordia, 12 degrees, feels like -8. I'm seeing snow blowing and drifting there on top of Cloud County Community College. It is hard to see, again, because of the ice glaze that we have on top of a lot of these cameras. And looking from the Cyrus Hotel in downtown Topeka, we had a snowplow go down and clear some of that snow a few minutes ago, but it's going to take a lot to get that stuff all cleared out. Let's check out the power outages now as well. We'll go back to the this is just taking my other computer here, just taking it raw so I can just show you the data. So we'll go to the Evergy outage map page here. And I saw there were quite a few folks in Topeka out of power earlier. That number is now much lower. There were about 300 houses that were without power in Topeka, and that was a couple of hours ago. It looks like Evergy and the crews have gotten it back under control, thankfully. I'm trying to back up this graphic here. I'll just force it to do it. You're going to do it. It's going to go. Whether the button wants to go or not, we're going to get it moved. All right. So this is going to be the Evergy outage map here. And again, a couple of hours ago, we had Topeka with more than 300 homes that were out of power. And it looks like now there's fewer than 5. So that number's come way down. And let's see who else has power outage issues. Emporia, I was really worried about Emporia with the ice glaze there and the very strong winds. And right now it looks like there are about 66 customers affected just northwest of Emporia around Americus. And then to the east, Lawrence has got some folks without power. Looks like we've got about 44 customers affected there around Lawrence. So the power outages, thankfully, have not been extensive yet, and hopefully we won't see that pan out to be as bad as it appeared that it could be. So again, we're seeing some folks that are dealing with power outages, but I'm suspicious that maybe the ice glaze is not as thick in those areas to the south as it could have been, that maybe we had it change over to sleet soon enough that we don't have quite as much weight from that ice glaze we could have had. The ice glaze sticks on everything. The ice glaze does this. There's that Wamego telecom camera again. So when the liquid water hits these surfaces, where it's below freezing, it forms a glaze like this. Sleet pellets don't do that. Sleet pellets just bounce off. You know, kind of like almost like Dippin' Dots or whatever, but they just bounce off and keep going. But the glaze, that's the problem that weights down a lot of the power lines and tree branches and that kind of thing, causes huge problems. That's also what's so hard, the hardest to drive on, at least in my opinion, a lot of people's opinion, I would say. Additional snowfall on top of what's already happened. This model just updated. The computer just updated. That data has just come in from the noon run of the model. It took a couple minutes for it to ingest. Now it's showing Hiawatha with 9 more inches of snow over what's already happened. Kansas City with about 8.1 in addition to what's already happened. Manhattan with almost 5 inches more. Abilene with about 5 inches more. Abilene's already got a foot of snow and looking at another 4 or 5. So there are going to be many spots that do break a foot of snow in this. So we've already had Wamego make it to a foot. Chapman's at 11 so far, but those numbers are going to come up. Downtown Emporia, again, we have this ice glaze covering a lot of the cameras, so it's hard to see. Feels like 8 below zero in Concordia right now. Still seeing blowing and drifting snow. Downtown Topeka, we've got the road crews are out there just cleaning the streets as best they can, but when the temperature is this cold, it is very hard to get all the snow off. So please don't think that your neighborhood is going to have good-looking streets tomorrow morning. That's just not going to happen. These road crews are going to have to work all day and all night, really just to get the major streets and highways cleared for us. It's going to be a huge job, and the temperature right now is 16. It's already hard to clear snow off when the temperature is this far below freezing, but tonight's low temperatures be around 0, some spots below 0. The colder it is, the harder it is to scrape that stuff off of the road. They've got ice in the bottom in many cases, and snow, and extremely cold temperatures that makes the snow even harder to remove. 14 in Hiawatha now, 14 degrees in Marysville. So be ready for this. This afternoon, more snow, blowing snow, blizzard conditions will continue, at least near blizzard conditions. The technical definition of blizzard means you have to have sustained winds of 35 miles per hour or higher for 3 consecutive hours, as well as snow or blowing snow, as well as visibility of less than a quarter of a mile. Those things have to all happen, and we're probably close to it, but I haven't seen sustained winds of 35 miles per hour anywhere so far from this. Not that I've seen gusts that high, but when they go to verify this later, they may find that the blizzard warning, wasn't quite met the criteria. I'll research that and make sure, but either way, it's a nasty storm, and it's the first blizzard warning we've had since 2019. The storm ends before midnight, at least the snow does, with 3 to 8 inches more snow common on top of what's already happened. And then Monday morning, that's tomorrow morning, extremely cold with wind chill values of about minus 15. We saw the blizzard warning until midnight tonight. The winter storm warning continues for Coffee County over into Missouri. Coffee County, if you feel left out on this, you can consider yourself in the blizzard warning. I consider you to be in the same warning as everybody else here. You're one county outside of this thing, so I'd say that Coffee County is in the same boat as the rest of us, really. Now, checking out the radar, you'll see the backside of this low starting to shift around from the northeast in areas like Concordia and Marysville. The snow is now coming in from the northeast. The surface winds are coming in straight from the north, but if you look at the radar closer, you'll see Topeka, Ottawa, Burlington. This snow is all moving from south to north. Then it takes a big turn from Seneca to Manhattan to Abilene, and all starts coming in from the northwest. That's much colder air aloft in those areas, and the wind, the motion of the winds and the clouds is shifting direction as well there too. Many times you'll see a line of extremely heavy snow rates in the area where we get that shift. So, I mean, we're already seeing heavy snow in many areas, but that's just one more thing to squeeze more out. So the winds are gusting 36 miles per hour in Topeka right now, not sustained to 36, but gusting that high. And the strong winds continuing through the day will continue to give us the risk of seeing some power outages. The snow will continue with us much of the day as well. There's 3 p.m. still snowing, getting up to 6 and 7 p.m. The snow ends around Concordia and Clay Center by then. By 10 o'clock to midnight, the snow is ending for all of us. And we are expecting to see snowfall total still. Many of us are going to be in that 7 to 14-inch category, I still think, and some spots already in the 12 to 12-inch category. So more power outages are likely with this ice glaze and the strong winds. And the wind chill values are just awful this morning and this afternoon. So if you can stay inside and watch football on WIBW TV, it's not a bad idea. Daniel, you want to run for a while? They have you?
Yeah.
Bring it max 2 for Daniel, please.
So yeah, we'll just switch off here a little bit. We're again just watching this storm here as we're sort of getting through those peak hours right now with that snowfall. But we can see temperatures all within the teens. This is pretty much where we're going to peak here for today across the area, and things are only going to get colder as we head towards the rest of this week, even after the snow is gone. We'll get to that here in a moment, but we can zoom out a little bit further from northeast Kansas, really just see how far this system extends. We're seeing that snow off in parts of Missouri, Illinois, Indiana, really all the way down towards the Appalachian Mountains and parts of the Virginias and Kentucky right now is where we're seeing some of that. Not quite as heavy as northeast Kansas. We're still sort of on that bullseye for where the most intense and heavy snow bands are right now. But this really does put into perspective just how big of a system it is. And while it's already been very historic for us here in northeast Kansas, it's likely to prove to be the same in many other locations as well here over the course of the next 2 to 3 days or so. So definitely a big event here for really just the nation in general. Here we'll get that loop going again. Jeremy was saying we do have that low here, the center of it, down off towards the southeast of the Wichita region right now, where we do see, I think, a little bit of some drier air starting to intrude in there. So it's sort of reaching its peak maturity at this point, at least for our region. And again, things are peaking pretty much currently at the moment. We still have additional snowfall to go, but we're probably not going to see quite as quick or intense of a rate of snowfall as what was observed earlier this morning, at least as these next couple of hours go on. So that is some good news. But again, just looking how far to the west things extend, the first areas to probably see the cessation of that snow are probably going to be out west in the Cloud County, Clay, also Washington counties as well, but probably not until around 5 or 6 p.m. at the earliest. And then those of us further east, it's probably looking more like around 9 to 10 p.m. at the earliest that we could finally start to seize that precipitation and give ourselves a nice break to try and recover here. But though again, as Jeremy was saying, we are really going to be seeing quite a bit of some cold temperatures, some very strong winds and chills for the next couple of days, feeling like the negative teens at times. We'll take a little bit of a zoom in here, just want to see if we can still find some lightning signatures. It's not looking like we're seeing as many as we saw this morning, but we did have thunder snow all throughout the region for many parts of this morning. Even here in Topeka a little while ago, we heard some loud rumbles. Really exemplifies just how intense this storm system is with, again, how much snowfall it's been dropping, and really at those current rates we can see there's a lot of energy there in those clouds. So again, really a historic storm because thunder snow is not something we see very often here. Again, those blizzard warnings in general we haven't seen in around 5 or 6 years for most areas, and then to really see comparable combinations of between the ice, the sleet, the freezing rain, the heavy snow, and then these stronger winds, you got to go back probably more than a decade to the late 2000s to really see anything that could rival this. And again, as Jeremy was mentioning, morning. When it's all said and done, we could have those snowfall totals, breaking some records here, at least for this time of the year in January, depending on where we are, especially further north, where, again, 1.5 feet, maybe even a little bit more than that, is going to be possible in some localized areas. But we'll take a look at the supercast, though, for the next couple of hours. We are expecting that to, again, still drop some heavy snow for a good 2 to 3 hours here at this current rate. Things are going to sort of be weakening here. Again, further south and west is where we will see those breaks first. That moisture starts to get cut off a little bit, and we're seeing that fade off around 5 to 6 p.m. But again, the still of us further east, we're still going to be seeing some of that snow at a lower rate, but it's not going to be done quite yet, and we're still going to have those gusty winds whipping around all of that snow on the ground, which is still why that blizzard warning is going to extend until midnight. Remember, it doesn't require those blizzard warnings. They don't require snow to be falling from the ground to be issued. The criteria is that you need those strong winds of around 40 to 50 miles per hour sustained at times for at least a few minutes at a time, and that visibility needs to be very low as well, which we also check those boxes for that. I mean, most conditions around the area right now, not just because of the ice on the cameras, but really everywhere we look, does show around less than 2 miles. That's being generous. Most of us at around half or a quarter of a mile, especially on those roadways or flatter areas, which there are a lot of around here. But over the next couple of days, we are going to see drier conditions, maybe a little bit of some clouds building in here, but definitely a break from this system. But again, the impacts here are not really going to be all that finished because of just how strong winds are going to be over this time, at least for overnight tonight and parts of Monday morning. Gusts out of the north here at around 25 miles per hour at their peak, maybe getting up towards around that 40 mark at times before that blizzard warning does expire here at midnight. But after that, the winds will die down, and the next couple of days after that, not going to see too much intensity for the winds. Here we can see on Monday they shift a little bit further towards the west. Tuesday looking a little calmer. We may have a bit of a tick up here in those wind speeds out of the north here for Tuesday night into Wednesday, but it's still going to be, again, relatively light to what we're seeing now. But it's really not going to matter all that much when you factor in that colder air that's moving in behind this system. Even just some lighter winds like what we saw are going to cause some very strong wind chills all across the region. We're waking up here going towards Tuesday, and this is when wind gusts were at their lightest, around 5 to 10 miles per hour, still feeling like the negatives all throughout the region. And that's with actual temperatures somewhere in the teens at this time. So it really is sort of exponential how when those temperatures drop, the winds, it really doesn't require a whole lot to make it feel bitterly cold outside. We can go forwards here towards Wednesday morning as well when those winds pick up a little bit, probably going to be more so in that negative teens range. But again, this is going to be a good 3 to 4 mornings at least where we are waking up to some very, very frigid temperatures, and with clearer skies as well. We'll be talking about the possibility or a very likelihood of seeing a lot of frost formation there in the regions too. Thursday does look to be, I think, when we are starting to get back into the single digits, the more positive values for when we're waking up here in the morning. Still bitterly cold, and then by Friday morning, I think things are going to be changing quite a bit into Saturday, or this is a bit later into Friday night and early Saturday morning, but more seasonal conditions expected by then. But again, a good 5 days or so of these colder temperatures, and at minimum 3 mornings here where we're going to be waking up to wind chills feeling close to the negative teens here at some times. So definitely something we'll be watching for quite a bit over the area, because it is going to be, again, another slew of those issues that are going to be caused by just how cold things are. We have those school closures for some areas, I believe, here on Monday. We don't have that information to see how much further into the week we will have those closures. But again, with wind chills as low as they are, we have to be prepared for some of those possibilities here. We'll take a look at the downtown Cyrus Hotel camera in Topeka, one of the lucky few cameras that hasn't managed to freeze over here over the past 24 hours. 16 degrees currently, -1 is that feels like. So the winds right now at 20 miles per hour, that is fairly strong, but that is a difference of about 17 degrees or so. So if those winds lighten up here over the course of the next several days, that is not going to be quite as big of a gap, but still enough here, especially in those overnight and early morning hours, to make it feel well below zero. Dew point at 14, visibility at, again, about a quarter of a mile, maybe a third or so, and we can see these cars driving around very, very slowly here all throughout even the most busiest urban roads that have been treated and have been getting the most attention. So if we're going this slow on these major roadways, that really tells you how fast we should be going on some of those back roads and those more rural areas as well, which again are probably going to be a little bit later to get cleaned up, de-iced, and cleared of snow as well. But it is something, again, that we just have to really try and take carefully here, no matter how frustrating it may be. And believe us, it is a difficult situation. Here just outside the station, we're having a lot of trouble with some of the traction on our cars and just getting up some of the more gentle hills and slopes that we have over here in Topeka, which there aren't too many of, but that's really just a testament to how very impactful this storm system has been. Again, we're going to be dry the next couple of days after this. Sunday night here after that passes through. I'd be surprised if we really saw anything at all through the next 4 or 5 days. Maybe on Saturday night we could have some mixed precipitation if those temperatures are still low enough. Again, nothing anything close to what we're seeing right now. That would just be a very light little mixture, a passing snow shower or two. But this dryness, again, will give us some of the benefit here to help clean up. But with temperatures as cold as they are, we can't really expect that cleanup process to be as rapid as some more recent comparable events here, where temperatures were usually a lot more quicker to warm up, or at least getting closer to that freezing mark where it makes those day-to-day activities and responsibilities a bit more feasible. So those actual temperatures for the next couple days, again, going to be mostly in the teens, probably getting back towards that more average range on around Thursday or Friday, but we're still used to the middle to upper 30s. So even as we do get a noticeably warmer day here on Thursday, that is still below where we should be here for early to middle January. This is usually the coldest time of the year. It's no surprise that we do get these extreme temperatures around this time, but it does put into perspective that this is, again, a very, very difficult situation here for all of us, and really an end in sight is there, but it's going to be a long journey before we get to that point here over the next 3 or 4 days, maybe even a full 5 of those conditions. One more look here at the live storm tracker. Again, not seeing too many changes as we keep going back and forth here during this live stream, and it'll be a very gradual progression to see some of that snow start to fade off. I think we're seeing a little bit of some of a collapse here in those snow bands further out west towards the Hayes area. We can kind of see a little bit of that contracting a bit, but you know, Hayes is still a good 60, 70 miles at least from our westernmost areas out near Concordia. So with how slow it's moving, we don't really have that speed estimate right now, but as you can tell, it's not nothing too fast, definitely taking its time to get out of the region. But one fortunate thing is, again, it will all be snow here for the rest of this time. So that ice and sleet that we saw yesterday, freezing rain, no longer going to be an issue. Some of that's still on the ground, and that's, again, another reason why we need to be even more cautious on the roadways. A lot of times when we see these big storms and we're out traveling, if we have to, we're usually dealing with one type or the other, or at the very least, one is a lot more dominant than the other. But again, that ratio of the ice on the ground to some of that snowfall on the ground is going to be at least even in terms of those impacts, just because it doesn't take a whole lot of ice on the ground to cause those issues. A comparable amount of snow is usually in that higher range of what we're expecting, of around a foot, to really cripple travel all throughout the region. So we're really getting the best, or maybe I should say the worst, of both situations here. But again, we don't have to worry about extra accumulation from those other types. And as those roads have been de-iced and will continue to be de-iced, those factors are going to be working in our benefit a little bit more. So again, additional snowfall here is likely going to be concentrated further off towards the north and east. Hiawatha is probably going to be receiving the brunt of it, at least on this map, an additional 9 inches or so. And again, it's going to be moving to the northeast, as you'd expect, further south and west. Those totals not going to be quite as high, a couple more inches, 3 or 2 or so in your Concordia, Emporia, and Burlington. Here in Topeka, between 4 and 5 is a pretty good estimate. I know we're already getting close to that foot mark here in some areas along Interstate 70. If we haven't already exceeded it, I know Wamego did have that just an hour ago and is probably getting a little higher here as we speak, so we'll be checking in on that throughout the next couple of hours as well. But it does look like Kansas City, that region, will probably be getting a little bit more of that future snow here as it moves further east, so sort of pushing that on to the next metros, and then so on and so forth. St. Louis, and then parts of Illinois and Indiana, of course the Appalachians, as we were talking about as well. This system is really going to be raking by here all throughout the region for the next couple of days, so definitely not going to be alone in our misery, but we do have the misfortune of being some of the first to really experience these conditions as well. We'll take another quick look here at some of our other cameras just to see if we can really get a bit of a better makeup of what's occurring out there. And unfortunately, we can't really right now with the ValueNet Fiber Cam in Emporia. 18 though is that current reading, 2 degrees for the feels like, with winds out of the north at 18. Visibility again at a quarter of a mile, and temperatures overnight tonight are going to stay probably in the teens for at least the first half. After midnight, I think we'll have that chance to drop down into the single digits waking up tomorrow morning. Of course, those wind chills in the negative teens or so. And again, that's the high temperature for today. We're watching for the teens right now. Already reaching that point, not really going to be getting much warmer than where we currently are for the most part. So again, definitely a very, very cold stretch of some days ahead here, even long after that snowfall is starting to move out of the region. But I'll toss it back to Jeremy now so we can get or a few more updates on some of our other cameras, and he'll have that latest up-to-date info on some of the travel conditions as well.
All right, bring me back to Max 1 if you guys would, please. Max 1. Bridge, thank you. There we go. All right, so we just got a report in from the National Weather Service. They ran outside and measured the snow at the Weather Service office at Billard Airport in Topeka. And they came up with a total of, if I can make this thing run around, no drama here, there we go, 8.8 inches. That is the snow total so far in Topeka. That's as of noon. So that's 45 minutes ago. That means 8.8 inches of snow is how much we had 45 minutes ago. This report of 4.5 downtown, that's from 8:42 a.m. That is 4 hours ago. And it's near Lake Sherwood. That was from about 11 a.m. So almost 2 hours ago, it was 5.5 inches. So this new data there, 8.8 inches the total there at Billard Airport in Topeka. And if you go back 10, 20 years from now, trying to look for data from today to see what happened, the easiest thing to find for Northeast Kansas will be the National Weather Service office report of snow. So 8.8 inches. And that's going to get us closer to being one of those top 10 snows since 1950. All right, excuse me. Now checking out the dates there, so that one came in from Topeka at noon. You can see the list here. I'm kind of moving the cursor over it. At 11:44, there's a report from Baser. 10:54, we got a report from Pauline. Okay, that's the one at near Lake Shawnee or Lake Sherwood. But these don't come in quickly; they kind of trickle in. But that new one from Topeka, Billard Airport, the National Weather Service, is a sign that this storm has produced into the range that we were worried about, and it's almost 9 inches so far in Topeka, and that number is going to come up. Obviously, it's going to snow for several more hours. A little farther to the west, Wamego has the biggest number we've seen, and they're at 12 inches of snow, but that's at 10:38. That's 2 hours ago. It's been snowing all that time, so that number is almost surely going to be 13 or 14 inches by now. So 2 hours ago, Wamego had a foot of snow, and it is still snowing there, obviously, and will continue to do so for a few more hours. There's the live look from Wamego Telecom there in Wamego along Highway 99 through town. And you can see the road crews have worked to remove the snow from the highway, but again, with temperatures this cold and the ice underneath, it is impossible to get it all cleared off as well as they would like to. And you can also see that it's still obviously snowing until it switches to a camera that's covered with ice like everything else is around here. So, do you want to mention this as well? We have lots of pictures coming on WIBW.com right there, weather pics. Go to our weather page. If you click on the word weather pics right there and follow that, you can see pictures other people have sent in of the snow, and you can submit your own as well. And I would love to see your snow pictures to see what's going on where you are. For example, I don't have a snow report from Hiawatha, but I have a picture in here of somebody with 9 inches or 8 inches of snow that they had there. So that gives an idea what's going on. Look at that. Look at this thing on the image here on. It's like a snow NATO. It's a snowdrift forming. That is wild. That's in Manhattan. DEM sent that in to us. Here's an image from Abilene. Angela, 16 minutes ago. That snowdrift's probably 2 feet deep there on the right side by the fence. This is from Manhattan at Fort Riley. Amber, thank you. Image from Ivy at Lecompton. There's Waterville, 11 a.m. And you can see the snow blowing around. That's near blizzard conditions or maybe full blizzard. There's the 8 inches of snow in Hiawatha. Again, the reports, we don't have a report that's come in from Hiawatha yet. So that shows us that it has snow that much up there as well. Jaron at Hanover, look at the snow pile on top of that truck there. It's just amazing. Wow, this is snowdrifts in Manhattan at 11 a.m. today from Kimberly. There's somebody shoveling snow, Brandy. And, oh my gosh, that's Seco Park in Manhattan with about 8 or 9 inches of snow as of 10 a.m. St. Mary's, lots of snow there. Marcia and Holton says large flakes coming down. That was about 3 hours ago. So, snow Manhattan. Jeremy, I've been asking for snow, thanks. I don't want to take credit for that. So you're welcome, I think. I kind of wish it hadn't happened, but it's still coming. All right, so I just showed you Manhattan has at least 9 or 10 inches of snow. I think they may even have 11 from the report there. Let me check the report from the Weather Service on Manhattan. It was St. George with 11, and Wamego with 12. Excuse me. So Manhattan's got at least 10 or 12 inches of snow on the ground, and you have 4 or 5 inches still coming. Holton still has another half a foot of snow coming. Hiawatha still has another 9 inches of snow coming. Kansas City, over by the airport, and downtown as well, same thing. 7 to 9 inches of snow coming for Kansas City still. Lawrence about 7. And what you'll notice, the trend is the farther east you go, the numbers are going to be higher because there's more time for the storm. Areas like Concordia, Washington, Marysville, Concordia, Washington, Belleville, the storm is going to end for you sooner, much sooner than it will in Kansas City. So the storm will continue longer to the east. There's that live look again from downtown Emporia, from the Lyon County History Center, where it's still snowing and still covered in ice. The camera is. There's the live camera in Concordia on top of Cloud County Community College. And that camera has been coated in ice the whole time. The one from downtown Topeka from the Cyrus Hotel, this one's done very well. Somehow we've been lucky this one did not get coated with ice. You know, it's very hard to keep, freezing drizzle or freezing rain from coating your cameras. That's just going to happen sometimes. So we'll take the cameras we still have. A lot of the KDOT cameras have been wonderful. But downtown Topeka, that view from the Cyrus Hotel, you can really see. And it wasn't that long ago we had a snowplow go down the street, go down Kansas Avenue. And as I'll zoom in closer on it. And after they cleared the street there with the snowplow, you can see how much is still left. And when they have ice in the bottom and you have the temperature as cold as it is very, very hard to get all the snow removed. So it's going to take a long time to get just the major streets cleared. And it's going to be several days at best before we get the secondary roads and the neighborhoods all cleared up. 16 degrees in Topeka right now, feels like -1 with heavy snow still falling. 13 degrees in Hiawatha, 18 in Osage City, 19 degrees in Burlington. So be ready. The rest of this afternoon, we will continue to see blizzard conditions and near blizzard conditions. The technical definition of the blizzard means you have to have the wind sustained at 35 miles per hour for 3 hours. So what that definition, isn't necessarily what everybody thinks of a blizzard as being. So if it looks like a blizzard to me, I'm fine calling it a blizzard. So that's what you've got this afternoon. More heavy snow, and the winds are going to continue to be very strong. All right, so tonight and this evening, the snow comes to an end before midnight. We'll see many folks with 3 to 8 inches of additional snow. The wind's still going to gust 35 to 45 miles per hour at times. So there's a severe weather outlook for areas to the southeast. That's a significant severe weather event for Mississippi and Louisiana tomorrow. So the snow ends later this evening. Monday morning, tomorrow morning, wind chill values of minus 15 will be common in the morning. So a lot of schools are closing for tomorrow, and there are a lot of schools that actually were not starting tomorrow anyway because Christmas break's still ongoing. And I want to check out our closings list and see if it is expanding. Excuse me. So now we are getting a longer list of schools that are closing for tomorrow. So I'm going to jump the computer back here so I can bring up the other computer and show you this. And it looks like we've got Christ the King Early Education Center is closed Monday. I brought up the wrong computer, so I'll get it right here. Here we go. Closings, there we go. All right, so it's a longer list now. We go to just schools. Christ the King Early Education Center, closed Monday. Emporia Christian School. Hayden International Academy. Topeka Catholic Schools. Topeka Collegiate, closed Monday. Donovan West. Nemaha Central. Lebo Waverly. Leroy Gridley. Lyon County, this is going to be pretty much everywhere. Wamego, closed Monday. Onega, Rock Creek, Wabaunsee, 333 Concordia, Valley Falls. Well, that's a long list of schools that are closed tomorrow. And 501's closed Monday. So not a surprise, but that list is on WIBW.com. You can also get those sent to your phone as a push alert if you have the WIBW News app. You can get a push alert for that whenever your school closes. All right, so we're not seeing widespread power outages. There are quite a few of them. Looks like from the Evergy site, they say they have 200 active outages and about 4,000 total customers that are out of service at the moment. And that it could have been much worse than that, and it still may get bad. But right now it's not as bad as it looked like it could have been. All right, a report there of a 9-inch snow in the middle of Topeka. So we have 9-inch snow reported just a couple of minutes ago from the National Weather Service, right in the middle of town. I'm watching these numbers continue to come in here. Nashville, Kansas. I was kind of curious where that was. That's southeast of Pratt. Okay. I had not heard of that town before. All right. Just curious about what that one was. All right, so across northeast Kansas, we're still not getting a lot of data for Jackson County, up to Nemaha, Brown, Marshall. There's been heavy snow in these areas up here. We had several pictures that came in from WIBW.com of people that had anywhere from 6 to 10 inches of snow up there. So Wamego's had the highest number so far officially. Billard Airport is 8.8. Over in, that's Chapman, they have 11 inches of snow. This continues to fall all day long. So we do expect to see an additional snow on top of what's already had. We've already had. I'm going to show you the additional that's on the way. And we'll wrap up the live stream here, and we'll come back on in a couple of hours and give you some more snowfall totals and that kind of thing. But just stay inside today. Watch football. Just try to stay warm. And if you have to be on the roads, please use a lot of caution. It is extremely hard to get around, no doubt. So additional snowfall. This is on top of what's already happened. Manhattan to Wamego's already had about a foot. About 5 more inches on top of that is likely. Holton, you've already had about 8 or 9 inches of snow. You'll get another 6. Hiawatha's had about 8 inches of snow. You could have another 9 on top of that. Lawrence, 7. Kansas City, 8. Topeka's already got 9 inches of snow. We're looking at about 4 more inches of snow likely on top of what's already happened. Many of us are going to have about a foot of snow total out of this, and some spots will go higher than that. So this wild forecast of double-digit snowfall amounts, and with some spots going to a foot or even more, that's coming to pass. And we have the strong winds making this blizzard conditions in many areas as well. Thanks for checking in with this for this live stream. We will have another live stream later today. Of course, we don't have a 5:30 newscast on WIBW TV today because of football. We will do a live stream at that time. At the same time, we normally have the newscast and give you updates there. So thanks for checking in with us. We'll keep you safe and informed. Have a safe day.